Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name's Robert Billing. I'm Marketing Manager for Genesys in Southeast Asia. Today we're joined by our friends at Activeo, one of our business partners located in Singapore. We're going to be presenting on the topic of working from home. Shouldn't be an IT challenge. How do you move from legacy to cloud contact center? I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. So we've got a good group of people presenting. So we're joined by Jonathan, who's the Regional Director of Activeo, Yolanda, the Transformation Manager of Activeo, Rosaline and Sasis, also both from Activeo. And then you'll be hearing from Patrick Ong, our Head of Solutions Consulting here at Genesys.
Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan and I have been heading Activeo Singapore for the last 5 years, a consulting and technology company specialized in contact center and customer experience solution. So a few weeks ago, Singapore and Malaysia governments activated basically their lockdown to tackle the COVID situation. And by doing this, they pushed many companies to activate their business continuity plan. Let's be honest, for many of us, the BCP was well written on the documents, but it had never been activated before, at least not at this kind of scale. So at that time, as a manager, the only thing I wanted to focus is first think, how can I take care of my people, my team, and make sure they are safe, and while trying my best to maintain the activity for the company. So I think those challenges were probably shared with many of you. And at this point, IT shouldn't be something that you have to worry about. At least I didn't want to worry about. We are very lucky at Activeo because first we are an IT company, but also a few years ago, we completely transformed our infrastructure to rely only on cloud solution. So all our workers are for a long time ago already unable to work from everywhere. Although they were quite used to come to the office, it was not really a challenge for us to move and work from our house. Unfortunately, when I started to look more at what happened in the Malaysia, Singapore markets, and I heard many testimonies from customers and friends, and those who are working for those companies with legacy system, they really had a hard time enabling their IT so that their staff is able to work from home. A lot of challenges with security, VPN, and all those things. So how can we get rid of some of those legacy systems for the contact center? At least that's what we're going to talk about today. It can be scary. It can be seen as a very long process to replace a contact center solution. But now the technology has changed a lot, actually. And us as a company specialized, we change also our way to implement and upgrade those technologies. What we wanted to present to you today, an easy way to upgrade your contact center solution using Agile Methodology. And I will pass the lead now to Yolanda to talk more about it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yolanda. I'm the Transformation Manager for Activeo. I basically help organizations to go through any kind of transformation. One question I want to ask you today, because in any companies, any organization, we have all been through a number of projects and transformations. So for IT projects, how much value do you think a new tool, a new platform can be delivered? When we implement a new tool, how many features or functions do you actually think we are using at the end of the day? 80%, 10%, I don't know. So actually we looked up into this and the figures are not very positive. So 45% of the features that we install from any IT solution, we never use it. So it means there is probably something that we should look into. And for me, it's rooted to the business value. Is really, we should look into what is the tool that we are delivering to our users, but also what is bringing to them. So in order to be able to answer to that question, another question is, how do we qualify our users' needs? Usually any kind of project, we will go through maybe workshops or maybe some sort of analysis grid, something like this, right? And usually at any stage, at the beginning stage of this process, What we want is like the Christmas list, right? The Santa Claus list. So we will describe the best IT tool that we want, and our wishes usually are very high. Because obviously when you want to change a tool or when you want to deploy a new service, you will think of all the wonderful things that exist, right? So what you will describe is actually a wonderful machine, okay? But in terms of real needs on a day-to-day basis, maybe what you need is another kind of machine, something that is performing well, something that is qualitative. But at the end of the day, maybe you don't need that super car to go to work, right? So it's really on helping the users to prioritize their needs versus their wishes. Now, very quick comparison. In traditional normal waterfall projects, what we look at is these three components that are the three most important in terms of costs, in terms of perimeter, scope, what are we going to work on, and in terms of planning, how long is this going to take? In an agile project, the only thing we are looking into is the quality. It's the business value that a tool is bringing, the project is bringing to the users. It doesn't mean we are not looking into the cost or the scope or the planning or the duration, but the real focus is the quality. And we do this by breaking any big piece into smaller requirements and going into iteration. So from this, I will hand over to Sasit, who is our senior architect.
I'm Sasit Fernando. So I'm doing the solution architect and the implementation for more than 10 years in the contact center. So yes, I agree with what Yolanda explained before. So with my experience, when we are doing the implementation, most of our customers, they're never going to use all the features at the beginning. So they will be purchasing it, but then never use until for a certain amount of time. So for example, what we are going to do in here with the Genesys Cloud and the Cloud Contact Center, we are defining the objects at the beginning. So what we really need for now. So maybe you need a basic IVR voicemail feature. That's all what you need for now. So then after defining the objectives, we are going to negotiate the model and choose the offer. So we are going to decide which level of subscription that we need for now. So then after that, we are going to do our subscription. So after maybe 6 months, now you need to bring your contact center to the next level. So that means maybe you need to repeat the same exact process again by defining your objectives. So after 6 months, now you need to integrate with the web, maybe chatbots. So then you are defining your objective for the next 6 months, right? So right now we are going to integrate with the web services and bringing the chatbots into our contact center. So then we choose the relevant offer, and then again we subscribe it, and again after 6 months or any X amount of time frame, we do the same thing again. So the beauty of these options, the a la carte model, is you're not going to pay for the feature that you're going to use after 12 months. So that's the beauty of the offer. These are some examples of our subscriptions that we can choose during our objectives. So basic IVR, voice bots, voicemail, and basic UC features. Then you can have your next advanced contact center, like introducing the emails, chat box, advanced outbound campaigns. Then after that, our advanced offer is the Cloud 3, which is we can bring in the SMS, Facebook, and other recording. Now I'm going to do a very small comparison between the SOW of the traditional contact center, so which means the on-premise, and then I will be comparing it with the contact center. If you can see the slide, you can see most of our servers, our days will be using for the installation of our servers. And if we compare this with the cloud contact center, you are actually talking about doing the SOW transforming from months to weeks. So this is the beauty of our contact center. So after this, I'll be handovering the slide into Ross.
Thank you, Sasid. Well, basically, we want to just highlight here the initial goal as what Sasid have shared earlier. Our global methodology from Activeo is to really address the business needs of the company, basically in all implementation. We've started off with defining objectives, moving on to choose your offer, areas depending on what you've defined as objective, and then you choose the appropriate offers, and then looking to subscribe it. And thereafter, you would do change management again and repeat the whole process on identifying objectives again. It could be an additional objective, and then choose or upgrade or add on a certain offer to support the new objective or the additional objectives, subscribe to those, and then do it again and again. So it would be a cycle, in this case, which is our methodology in supporting for Genesys implementation. And moving on next, we are sharing here our team of expertise who will be supporting the implementation. And I think my job here really is just to share a little bit of examples of what I've heard. Some of you may have known me, some may have not, but I'm also one of the EXCO, Executive Committee of the Contact Center Association of Singapore. So I hear quite a lot of various different stories from my team members or peers who are running contact centers. So before COVID-19, a lot of the companies' BCP was to have different sites, whether it's a government or whether it's a local. Some of them would have overseas site as well, or a blend of both. They have local site, additional sites, and overseas site. And it haven't really changed all these years, for this BCP plan, because it does work, right? So even if it doesn't work locally, you have an overseas site, so it still worked. But as we all know, COVID-19 affects everybody, including local overseas sites, and where agents are required to work from home. So such unforeseen and unexpected measures caught all businesses off guard. So their BCP plan actually went through a total overhaul, I would say. In one of the EXCO meetings, it's just interesting that I was asking one of the contact center operators. So just before we are required, more or less to, because at the beginning, we all know our government has kind of advised, if you're able to work from home, that is their advice. But they are not saying you have to. So before the essentials and all that kind of stuff. So I did ask one of the operators, so what happens, if Singapore goes into a lockdown mode and nobody is allowed to go to the office? The reply I got from that operator was quite surprising. He said, they were not able to because they have no cloud capabilities. His kind of, at that moment, kind of solution is they will push the chatbot to the customers instead. That was a little surprising, but interesting as well. We all know it's not really ideal for some customers, probably not the best solution for your business. So I don't know about your plans, but this is quite interesting to note. Now, in Activeo, we differentiate ourselves from other system integrators, and how we deliver more value is really, we have people like myself who has contact center operations experience and the knowledge to better close the gaps. And how do we do that? Another example I have is we have a couple of hospital clients. One of the surprises we bring into them during the implementation or before implementation phase is the discovery workshops, where we include agents, supervisors, at the management level. Many times management decided on purchasing and upgrading an important technology. In this case, the cloud. It's a very important tool. They have a team who did their internal gap analysis, pros and cons, ones and don't. But when we get up a workshop with the client, we have different level of folks coming in, telling us about how this tool will affect them, how will it change the process internally. The management are often surprised by their own folks that they didn't know about a certain important thing, maybe. Or, while we were talking to the agents, they are often not aware that changes are coming. That's not very good, of course, but a lot of times they don't know whether this system is going to help them more or actually burden them more, or create more work, basically. So hence, a lot of times we find that such workshops are very good for clarity for the clients in terms of their change management process. And it also blends well with a lot of other things that they are doing internally for this new project. So workshops, we actually also include folks such as our engineers or architects such as Sasid. I remember after we've conducted one of the workshops many years ago, Sasid, I think in his experience of implementing solutions for so many different companies around different countries as well, this is the first time he has joined in such discovery workshop, and he came up to me and said, oh my God, I had no idea. I'm hearing directly from the users on their operational challenge. Now I understand why they're asking for this. Because previously what we did was we just did whatever we were told. For example, whether it's in the contract or whether is it just, whatever the client says, but the why was usually not explained. So with our help in this case and asking them to join in, it actually really helped a lot in terms of understanding what is the reason and how we can help the client to achieve, to close those gaps or to achieve, to apply more appropriately and more in line with their process. I'm just going to have another example before I close it off. Another example that we do that is a bit different, I guess, is because we have contact center experience and we have people such as Yolanda, who is Agile certified, Six Sigma, and a change management expert. She would be able to step in and provide better advice on action plans, helping to track on business objectives. And for example, we did a digital transformation plan and a review for some of our clients, and that includes cloud. So, and we assess various different touch points that the clients have and see how it is we could better help them in that sense. So we actually revamped the whole plan and provided quite a couple of interesting thoughts. Yeah, and that's kind of it. And over to you, Patrick.
Hi guys, so I'm Patrick. I'm the head consulting from Genesys, and I'm here to just talk a little bit about the Genesys Cloud CX solution. Before I go into the nitty-gritties of Genesys Cloud, I just want to introduce my two boys. So, and on the left is Christopher, and on the right is Jonathan, 18 or 19 years old. And I think you guys, if you have kids, right, you will be able to relate with me. My boys are really demanding millennials, where they basically just use their mobile phones, only communicate with me through WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook. They will do their own research on YouTube or Google. And basically, if they need extra help, then they will actually call me, right? Does this sound familiar with your kids as well? The thing is that the customers or the consumers that we have today is really very much like my kids or maybe your kids, right? They are getting more and more demanding in terms of communicating with us. When a customer actually contacts you over the phone, he would have already gone through 2 or 3 different channels. He would have already went to your website, probably look at your social media comments from other customers to see whether your product is good. So the point is that customers simply they just want it to be as simple as possible, right? They want it to be as everyday life, using their WhatsApp, communicating through any other media that they want. But instead, what we see, I think you guys will probably experience with some of the organizations that you have contacted, is a very disjointed customer experience. And why is this so? Is because organizations have various systems to address various channels. Take example, today everyone talking about voice bots and chat bots. But very much you'll see that chatbots in the industry today are very much another silo, right? You can talk to them through Facebook chat or through web chat, but if you need to communicate them from the Facebook chat to an agent or Facebook chat and email the contact center, there's a lot of disjoint because the system is not in the same framework. The context and the contextual information is not in the same platform for agents that are handling different channels to have this unified end-to-end customer journey. Right, and I'm here to mention that there is a better way, right? And I want to introduce what Genesys Cloud is. So I think the cloud is no longer should I do it, but rather a more is when should I do it, right? I think cloud has already matured in the market that many organizations are already using one or two forms of cloud solutions. And it's not a new thing. In terms previously where security, scalability was a concern, today cloud is already very matured and many organizations are looking towards it. And I think COVID-19 is just one perfect example where organizations realize that, hey, I must go to the cloud as soon as possible because of this kind of scenarios. But I just want to share that not all cloud solutions are the same, right? When cloud first started, many organizations or vendors actually just took their on-premise solution, bought another machine on a data center and just installed it into their data center and called it as a managed service or cloud solution offering. But many of the time it's different, because in a true cloud solution, you have things like, it's really future-proof. When do you have a version upgrade where there's perfectly no downtime, right? When do you have a feature upgrade where today this particular product provides voice, email, chat, and this vendor wants to add WhatsApp capabilities to it? Is there any downtime to add this new feature into this platform? In a true cloud solution, that should be totally transparent to you, meaning that today you are using voice, email, chat. Tomorrow when you wake up, you have WhatsApp capabilities available without a blink of an eye, right? And that's very different from managed services or hosted environment where the vendor really has to down the system, install the platform, up the system the next day, and maybe provide an announcement of, I have a 2-hour downtime of maintenance or something like that. So it's always important, I share with my customers, that you have to start with the right platform. And Genesys is a perfect platform for you, because you can actually any channel that you want, but essentially it's a ready omni-channel platform for you to use. And because it's the same platform across all the different channels, you have one single view end-to-end for the whole customer journey, right? Whether it's from an email down to a chat, going to a WhatsApp, coming down to a voice call, the supervisor and the agent has one single view of the whole interaction history to interact correctly with the customer. And of course, with the right platform, it has to be secure, it has to be scalable, it has to be compliant with all the different security policies in the cloud platform, and really being a true cloud vendor. So the Genesys Cloud, I want to share, basically has everything that you need, right? From the traditional inbound and outbound and IVR, voice, to digital channels like your email chat, to WhatsApp, to Apple Business Chat, to Line. From the supervisor perspective, it also has all the necessary things like voice recording, QM, WFM, surveys, and so forth, right? So I just want to introduce a little bit of some of the UIs. When I talk about omni-channel desktop, it's really talking about all the different channels coming into a single unified agent desktop. And the agent doesn't need to install anything on his laptop, because we're talking about true cloud solution. So the agent basically turns on the browser, goes to this URL, logs in, and is able to handle voice, email, chat, and all the different omni-channel capabilities that Genesys Cloud offers. From the supervisor's point of view, it is also every single tool through the browser. So it talks about listening to the voice recording, right? Doing your QM, planning and forecasting your resources through WFM. All this should be as simple and as seamless through a browser UI as possible. And lastly, from an agent to a supervisor, now we are not talking about the administrator. If I need to actually change the call flow or add a prompt or maybe integrate with a voice bot, it all needs to be through as seamless and as easy as possible through the same browser interface that we do provide, right? So this is the example of me adding a new prompt, right? Click for, selecting the new queue, putting it at click number 4, option 4 is under support and giving the next priority. As you can see, it's all very end user kind of user interface and control for you guys. Now, all this is essential, but what really makes a cloud solution really differentiating? And I want to talk about 4 different points that Genesys Cloud offers. First of all, is omnichannel. There are a few features that are really AI powered to assist agents and customers to optimize customer experience. A platform that's totally very agile, and of course, a platform that really differentiates. So let's talk about omnichannel for a while. Again, I mentioned about one channel, one platform for any channel, and you can start with a traditional voice, email, chat, and maybe Facebook Messenger. But essentially, as and when you want in an agile mode, you can add the different channels that you desire. And this is really a fraction of all the different channels that the Genesys Cloud really offers, including the WhatsApp, the web collaboration, the Twitter, video, know your customers, survey, questions, and so forth. I go on to the next thing about AI powered, right? Of course, traditionally, we know about voice bots and chat bots. And essentially, from Genesys' perspective, we like to automate what we can automate to make an agent more efficient, but we don't want to compromise on the real customer experience. So when we talk about voice bots and chat bots, we also talk about blended AI, which means that when we need to transfer a customer to an agent, we want to also pass all the contextual information between the bot and the customer to the agent, meaning that the agent will be able to see all the question and answers between the bot and the customer before we actually transfer to the agent. And once we transfer to agent, we want to talk about assisting the agent. So we talk about agent assist. And Genesys, we actually partner with Google CCAI to actually do real-time transcription of the conversation. So as a customer is speaking to an agent, using Google's speech to text, it's the same Google that you use in Google Home, is actually transcribing the conversation in real time and presenting it to the agent screen. And while it's presenting to the agent screen, the backend system is actually analyze the conversation to see whether there's any specific phrases or sentences that I can pick up and pop up a little script to the agent, right? So maybe I could upsell something, or I could assist the agent on something that is very dynamic and needs to be updated, like maybe COVID-19. How many foreign workers were found diagnosed with COVID-19 in the last 20 minutes? And that's what we can dynamically present to the agent by picking up, how many COVID-19 diagnosed, something like that. The other thing is about digital sales and using AI to actually analyze the customer journey on your website. So what we are able to do is actually monitor the customer journey on a website, predict if the customer is going to purchase your product, predict whether it's going to fulfill a certain outcome, and decide whether I need to assist the customer. So an example is a customer is going into a bookstore, right, online bookstore, and trying to buy as many books, but he actually goes to the checkout counter and doesn't check out. So what we do is that we actually screen pop a little box to say, hey, I see you're having some trouble. Would you like me to assist you? I have an agent that is available to help you on this particular inquiry that we feel you have some problems with. So that's prospect conversion or proactive engagement. The last of our AI powered that we have is really focusing on employee engagement, where we talk about AI-driven workforce management system and agent performance DNA, understanding the profile of agent to better route the right skill to the right agent profile. And this is also through our AI-powered system. If you can see from that little example of different AI, is really the agility of the platform. And while we are omni-channel ready, the platform is agile enough to have continuous innovation with zero downtime. It's scalable. An example for that is Uber. You guys, today in Singapore, we use Grab, but globally, a lot of people are using Uber. Uber is one of our largest customers with 35,000 agents across 65 countries. Imagine that. With a platform that is able to handle that kind of load, about 5 billion API calls every day, right? That's how scalable and how stable the Genesys Cloud platform is. And we are continually innovating. In 2019 alone, we actually created 108 new features to our cloud platform in terms of security, stability, but also different features like chatbots, integration with Google CCAI for voice bots, agent assist, AI WFM, gamification, many different features that we continually to innovate with zero downtime, right? Because it's a true cloud platform. And really, innovations is in the Genesys DNA. And we started off way back in 1997, being the first software CTI solution provider that able to integrate multiple switches, right? Whether is it the Avaya, Cisco, or basically the open platform. To now, you see a true cloud platform that actually provides 108 innovations in 2019 alone. And on top of that, we are also collaborating and having strategic partner alliance, right? Providing gamifications to employee engagement and also to folks like Zoom and Microsoft, right? For collaborations with Microsoft Teams, Dynamic CRM, and so forth. So we have this very strong partner alliance with everyone. We can't forget about security and compliance. We are continually complying with all the different security standards, right? Whether it's a HIPAA, FedRAMP, PCI DSS compliant, all these actually is already complied and approved. If this is not enough, basically, this is where Genesys differentiates. And all our customers are there to actually advocate for us. And we have many different events where customers actually step forward to actually speak about Genesys, right? We have like Singapore Airlines, OCBC, Alliance Bank. These are some of the various examples. And this is really proven as the right platform. And Gartner actually shows us as the leader in the Magic Quadrant, being an innovation leader and ability ease of execution. And if we don't see Gartner, let's see what the customers say about us. And this is actually G2 Grid. And G2 Grid is a platform that actually rates companies based on customers' reviews, right? Not the Gartner's reviews, but the customers' reviews and feedback. And you can see from the top platform, in terms of satisfaction and market presence, the Genesys platform and all three of our platforms are actually at the top of the quadrant, right? So just to prove that we are here and we are proven and we are really the market leader in this space. Some of the customers in terms of cloud customers range from as little as 20 seats to 25,000, 35,000 for Uber, for example, right? And basically, we are trying to say that a platform that's really agile. And because it's a cloud solution, it could come up really easy. I mean, we have assisted many customers during this COVID crisis, and we are able to actually deploy this or launch this within 48 hours, right? 2 days, essentially. That's as quickly, as fast as we could do for you guys. This is actually my last slide.
Thanks, Patrick. There was just a couple of questions coming through, and they're just basically about security. What security and privacy concerns do I need to address as a business? I guess this could be centered around enabling remote workers in the current situation, but just in general, when you're adopting the cloud, what sort of security and privacy concerns do the business need to think about to make sure that they're addressing it correctly?
Let's say for an agent working from home, of course, we will support the single sign-on. So they would have to sign on and authenticate themselves appropriately. Maybe your system would have a 2-pin authentication to make sure that the right person is actually logged into the system. Once that is done, then you are secured. In terms of voice recording and stuff, it goes through multiple layers of encryption before it's actually stored on the cloud. And of course, like you can see from here, all the different security compliance that is in place to ensure that the platform and the data within the cloud is secured.
Okay, great. So, look, thanks very much. Thanks to all our presenters today. These are certainly interesting times that we're encountering, but together with the right transformation approach and obviously the right technology, Genesys and Activeo are there together to help business become more resilient. And also click to contact either Activeo or Genesys to engage in additional conversations. should you have any from this topic that we've covered today.